Oh, you're facing the wrong way. Hi everyone. Welcome to my messy studio. I don't know if the camera's in the right place. I was trying to set up the camera so you could actually see me because I'm talking this way and I thought, God, I can't even see who's here. Hey Marg. I'm just trying to clip in my microphone because I have to use my headphone things and I hadn't put my other thing up. Hi Debbie. Sorry, I can't see all the chat because I'm just doing it from my phone, so I'm looking at you rather than looking by the side. Hi Mr. Ben. I think Stephen's been to the shopkeeper. Hi Cheryl. I'm just gonna. I thought I'd get more of the chat up on my phone as I'm looking at it, but it's not. I can only see like 2 people, so I'm going to miss stuff. So I can't see who's here. So I'm just going to get it up on my iPad. So bear with me for a minute. We're going to talk about supplies today, and you can ask me questions. I've moved my studio around, and everything's a bit all over the place. My desk, you can't see down here. You don't want to. It's just full of stuff at the minute. Right, let me see if I can get the thing up, so that means I won't be looking at you unless I put I can't put my iPad up there. That would be my dog is doing my head in today. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just barking again. It's been since the wind. Something's like got in his head that he has to bark. Every little sound he hears, he's like gone crazy. Right, I'm here. Right, okay, I can see the chat better now. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm just trying to move stuff. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the chat. Oh, and then everything's going to fall down. All right, okay, it's sort of balanced. So if you hear a crash in a minute, it's going to go over it. Oh, right, I can see everybody now. Because it's, hi, Suzanne. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Joe. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Helen. Hi, Marg. I said hi, Marg. Hi, Kerry. Hi, Helen. I said hi, Helen. God, it was everything. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Chloe. Hi, Jane. There's another Jane. Have we got 2 Janes? Or was that 2 something else's? 2 Susans. Yeah. Hi everybody. Right, you're going to see me looking down more than looking up, but anyway. Right, I don't know where to start. My dog stops, it might help a bit, I don't know. Hi Denise, what's up Denise? So I got my different glasses on for looking further away rather than close up and oh, paper. Thank you, Stephen. Maybe, okay, I'll start off talking about paper. I like to use £140 gummed blocks of paper, and you'll probably see me using, I've got things balanced everywhere. I'm just like balancy, everything's going to fall down. I like to use gummed blocks, and I've got quite a few. Just grab them. These ones, these ones here, they're all different sizes. Gummed blocks, gumdrops, yeah. Sorry, I can't do. The chat's gone on this one up here, but I can see it down there. So I'm going to be like this all the time. Sorry, but no. So I don't know. These are gummed blocks, and they come because they're stuck all the way around with glue, and it means you don't have to stretch the paper or anything, and it stays nice and flat. It does go a bit wibbly wobbly sometimes, but because it's gummed down, it pulls tight as it dries, so you get a nice flat painting when it's done. And usually I'll show you with this. No, I can't find I usually use a credit card now because I've moved everything around. I can't find anything. Yeah, I usually use a credit card, and usually there's, I don't know if you can see here, there's usually a little bit that's not gummed down, and then you can start pulling it up. If you run a credit card down the sides, and then it comes off sometimes without tearing. Yeah, so I like them. How would I stretch paper? Oh, that's a long one, Marg. I've got a whole video on stretching paper somewhere. I think it's in my beginner's class or something like that. But I'm not going to come into that now because you don't really have to do it unless you've got really expensive paper and things like that. If you've got a question, can you do it in capitals? Because I've got stupid glasses on today and I can't see. I've got the ones a bit further away and not close up. So if you've got a question, do it in capitals and I'll probably see it better and it won't get lost in the chat. So that's that paper. And I did buy some paper from Jackson's the other day, which is a gummed block. And I've been using that in some of my videos. You would have seen that. And it would... it doesn't work very well. So it comes up. Yeah, you can tape stuff down. You'll like see me use this as well. You can just tape it down without stretching it first, because that's a bit palaver. You can just stick it down with tape, but that doesn't always work as well. It doesn't. The tape comes up, and sometimes it's annoying. And then when you go to pull the tape off, it pulls the paper off. Have I still not found my others? What, Stephen? Mr. Ben. Brushes. Helen's asking me if when I use a sword brush, when using it, do you lead with the chisel edge or the tip? Whatever you like. Just use it. What's good for you. Glasses. No, I've lost all my glasses, as usual. I cannot find them. I have too many pairs. No, I bought some new glasses and I lost them. So that's my paper talk for what I like to use. But she says, oh gosh, I left it right over there. I like to experiment with different papers. It's always good to experiment with stuff. And I've got some handmade caddy paper that I've been using, and this is the handmade. Can you see? Sorry, the light's weird today. Caddy papers like that, which is handmade, like 100% cotton, and I'd done some. It's weird doing it up this way. Hang on, I'll just read the chat. Yeah, you can iron them afterwards, but it's good to. Chris is saying iron them afterwards and flatten them down. Yeah, but whilst you're painting, it's good to keep the paper flat, and it's because otherwise, if you paint like me, use tons of water, you get pools like developing where the paper buckles up, and it's not good. So it's good to. That's why I like blocks, because it holds it flatter for longer, even though it does start to sort of buckle a little bit. So I don't like stretching my paper because you have to soak it in water first and then use that gum tape and tape it down. And I don't like it because once the paper's been soaked, it loses sort of some of its absorbency. So or it gets more absorbent, and I find, because I blot a lot, I find that I can't lift the colour up afterwards. So that's why I don't like stretching paper, and that's why I like using blocks. But if you're beginning out and everything, just use what you can afford, and but make sure it's quite a heavyweight paper. £140 cold pressed is always a good one to start with if you're going to do that. Yeah, Melanie, I'm going to get onto my palette in a minute. I'll get onto that So I'll do that next. Paints. I'll talk about paints in a minute. But I think that's sort of paper. And you've obviously probably seen me painting in sketchbooks and things. There's Cyril coming to be annoying. These are Moleskine. Let's see. Moleskine, how do you say it? Watercolor journals. And this is the A4 one. If I can reach, as she pulls everything. And these are the little pocket size ones, which are A5. So these A5 ones. This is what I was doing my birds in. And these are watercolour paper, but it's not £140. It's more £90 watercolour paper, but it's quite nice. They're quite nice to use as well. And my other videos, you would have seen me painting in this. She holds it up all weirdly. And this, it was just a 75p. It's not watercolour paper, but it's really good cartridge paper. It's like £120 cartridge paper or something like that. It's quite thick. So I can use watercolour in that as well, which is nice. And I like the effect, but it's not very good for beginners because it doesn't absorb the paint as much, and it sort of sits on the top for a little bit longer. But I like the effects it gives, and it does get really wrinkly, but I don't mind it in my books. As you can see, it's quite wrinkly. You see how wrinkly it is, but I don't mind in my books. Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Right, that's sort of a paper talk. This is going to go on for ages, isn't it? I got a cup of coffee here. Let me just sort of catch up on what people are saying. No, Fran, I haven't tried Clairefontaine. So it's Clairefontaine rough? No, I haven't been experimenting because I have got a lot of paper, and I've just found some more. This is a good thing about tidying up. I've got stuff and I've forgotten I had it. So squeaky chair. Yeah, I've forgotten I had my stuff. So I found some more paper, which is good. Right, paint. I'll show you what I started off with. I found it. Look. This is my paint palette from about 20 years ago, and I think it's a White Nights or St. Petersburg palette, and it was when I started sort of painting flowers properly, I should say, yeah, and started doing my YouTube videos ages ago, like selling my art on, I used to sell my art on eBay. And this, look at it. And then I sort of started adding other colours in the little half pans into it. And look, and this is like 20 years old, and look at, there's still loads in there, except for a few of the colours have gone that I use, and it's just covered in dust. I might wash this and sort of rejuvenate it a bit, I think. And also this as well, I think this was given to me when I was like 15. Look, this is a Winsor & Newton little travel size thing that I used to do all my paintings with this, like when I was a teenager, and that's all watercolour colours. That's what I started with. Did I train at art college? I did surface and textile design when I was when I was 30. That's when I went back because I had a baby. What else? My palettes. I've just found this as well. It's empty. This is a Van Gogh palette. I take the little pans out because I like mixing everything up. So Do I leave the palettes open between uses? Yeah, because I forget to, whatever. I also found this that I'd forgotten I had. This is that Chinese, sort of Japanese, I don't know, Japanese, Chinese. I don't know, this is like, the colours are weird. I don't see, I hardly use them. The only colours I do use is the black and the brown, which I've taken out and added to my other palettes, because I find these paints really chalky. They're like more like gouache than watercolour. But I like the black and the brown because they're quite textury. That's what I like those. So I'm just going through things as I found them because I'm having a clear out. Put those there. If I hear a clonk, trash. Oh, I'll show you the palette I'm using at the moment, which is this one. Mr. Ben says I'm the Jamie Oliver of artists, yeah. Bash and it's done. Bosh. What does he say? I don't know what he says. This is the palette I'm using at the minute, and I just I'll tell you how I sort of set it out in a bit of the colours, and you'll also see this one, which is I lay this on top, and then this is the underneath one. This is a palette you can buy on Amazon. Oh, and it comes empty. You can buy them in different colours. I've got. Why is the light so weird? The light. Sorry, you can't really see. I've changed so the window's in front of me now. Now I was sort of organised, and I did get the. Yeah, there it is. See, I am organised. See, I've got a blue one here, and it comes. This is cleaner, and it comes with the little doobies. What are they called? Half pans. In a little baggie, and you pop them in here, and this one I've got my gouache paints in, and you can squeeze what colours you like in them. So I've got a mixture of all my favourite colours in this palette. So in here there is Mission Gold, Daniel Smith, Winsor & Newton, what else have I got in there? And some other colours that I like the Van Gogh Naples yellow red shade, which I really like. And these are my colours I use for painting flowers. This is more set up. This is like more, this one that I lay on top is more set up. I've got my pinks here, which is for flowers, but the rest of the colours are more for landscapey things that I've been doing. So I have like different palettes for different kinds of painting. Sounds like the Gulf 4, but you said trash. No, it's trash, it's throwing it away. Trash. I also found this, look. These are all my really old paints. I mean, this must be like 30 odd years old or more. Look how old that is. It's not burning. Look, I feel like a professional. It's not even focusing. Is it? No, it doesn't want to focus. Cadmium yellow, really. I mean, that's solid in there. And what I do, I cut them up. But there's some like really old ones. Look at that packet. This is one I've cut open and used the colour, but there's still a little bit there, so I'm not going to throw it away. I must have liked that colour. And there's some really old stuff in here. It's quite exciting, really. I was looking through it going, ooh. And I find colours that I've used. There's some Mission ones in here. I have to pull those out, actually. There's some in here and I'm just like, oh. And there's even some colours in this thing that they don't make anymore. Like that nice pink colour that they don't make anymore, that Winsor & Newton stopped. I might be able to sell it, and it's probably worth a bit of money now. Yeah, don't throw your tubes away. Let me show you this. I cut them apart. If they go like hard, just cut them apart. Look how much colour is still in there. So, what colour is this? Oh, it's a nice colour. Permanent magenta. Oh, I forget I have these. It's like Christmas sometimes. I forget what I'm doing. Let's put that to that side. I've still got some more palettes to go. This is another palette I've sort of used for, this is my sort of landscapey palette. And I also found this. I mean, I've never used it. This is a little Winsor & Newton. Look, I need to clean it up. Yeah, look at my messy studio. And in here are little travel brushes, like they sort of open up. I mean, I've never used them. I might put these on Etsy. I don't know if they're, and like these ones. And then you pop that, oh, and look, watch. Aha! They're quite cool. I forgot I had those. Yeah, so there's all different sizes, but they're too small for me. I don't do fiddly little paintings, so I might put those up on Etsy if anyone wants them. There'll be a few lots because I've got lots of stuff that's just sitting there, not doing anything. Some more paints. You might have seen me use. Ooh, what's that one? Oh, that's my. Sorry, I'm just going to chuck this over there. Doink. That was an oil colour that I've been looking for that I was painting. You might have seen me using these as well. These are acrylic gouache, and I use them in my. Oh, I'm going to have to get my book back that I showed you earlier. I use them. I sometimes like to use them to do a flat background. Let me find a good one. So the background on that painting is acrylic gouache. So just buy one colour if you want, if you think you're going to be using blue a lot for a little background. It's nice just to, and if you've made mistakes in the background, if you've painted a background and you hate it, let me give you an example. This painting here that I'm not particularly fond of that I did the other day of poppies, I could just come in with the acrylic gouache and paint around it and just leave the flowers, the poppies and things. You can. Yeah, I think that's why he's scarpered, because I'm throwing things around. He hates it. He hates everything thrown around. This is another palette I used. You might have seen me using this one. It's covered in hairs. And this has got the colours I like. I just sort of, if I've got colours that I like and the tubes are coming to the end, I stick them on my palette like that and use them like that. This is a palette I use for flowers, usually. It's got lots of nice yellows and greens, and I seem to set out my palettes in colour groups, like all the yellows, all the greens, all the pinks, all the blues, and I keep like the blues and pinks sort of together and the yellows separate, try and keep them clean, and it stops you getting muddy, mixing mud, which I often get asked about how come I use everything all mixes together and it doesn't turn to mud. I think it's called practice. That's all I put it down to, experience and knowing what colours make mud and things like that. This is a palette I use for my poppies. So I don't wash my palettes because you'll wash all the colour away. So I just buy more palettes. They're so cheap, and I'll use dinner plates and stuff like that. Yes, I do use ceramic. I use like dinner plates as well, but I do like having, as you can see in this one, this is another one I use for my poppy paintings. You can see I like ones with little wells in, so you can squeeze the colours you like to use in there. Thanks, Emery. Yeah, how I behave in my studio, I just throw stuff everywhere. It's really not tidy. This is another palette I quite like using. This one I use for my, oh, I didn't talk about that when I was talking about paints. Liquid watercolors. Look, liquid watercolors and inks. I'll talk about them now for a minute. I bought the Dr. P.H. Martin's set of these things, of watercolours, about 8 years ago. And I've hardly used them. I'm not a particular fan of them, although some colours I use more than others. I quite like using them in my landscapes and things. The only one, and I've got these hydrous ones as well, which I quite like this colour for when I'm painting poppies, which is the permanent red, but they do tend to take over everything. One I use the most, and I need to buy some more of, and now I had it and now I can't find it. Where's it gone? It's run away. Is the this hydrous one. This isn't the right colour, is it? No. The hydrous one, but the Indian red of the hydrous watercolours. I love that, and I need to get another one. But the Indian red colour, because it does that lovely granulation stuff. I really like that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my watercolour pencils, Stephen, in a minute. Oh, I've got so much stuff. I've been talking for like half an hour. This is the longest I've ever talked. Yeah, and I've got, then I've got these, Valley watercolour, liquid watercolours. I don't use liquid watercolours very much, but you'll see me use acrylic ink a lot. This is the white one I use a lot in my, I've got all different, that's not a different make. I think this is by whatever that one is, but I've also got that one. So any one, they all seem to act differently. And I've also got these Eco Line watercolours, but again, I don't use them that often, and then I forget I've got them, and they just sit there. And then I've also got these, I'm trying to think, these are alcohol inks, and they give a nice effect, like you see me using the alcohol drops. I'm going to get onto my additives in a minute when I paint. And I've also got some of these inks, which are those Winsor & Newton inks, and you can get some really lovely granulation because it doesn't quite mix with the watercolour, and playing around with that, it's really lovely. You can get different things. Ah, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, these, they do behave differently from the cakes and tubes because they behave more like ink than anything, and the colour is much clearer as well. And I find I just haven't really got on with them very well. Some artists use them all the time, but if you want something that's really clear and bright, they're good for painting flowers, I must say, and I think that's when I use them the most, and also for landscapes and things. So I quite like the way they look as well. You have pretty bottles. Yeah, Chloe's like with the pretty bottles. Pretty bottles in things. Oh, I also got this calligraphy ink. Which is another white ink that I use. So stick that down here. So there's a mountain of stuff. You'll see it coming up here in a minute. Yeah, I've done that. I've talked about that. My palettes. I've still got some more palettes. This is, you haven't finished my palette talk. This is a Mission Gold palette. I bought this. I talked about it yesterday in my video yesterday. I bought this with all the colours that come with it, the tubes. Well, I can't find a tube now. This is one of my favourite colours. It came with, was it 32 colours? Something like that. 28, 20, I don't know. or 24 colours, I'm not sure, something like that. But that's really good. Mission Gold paint is lovely. And it came with this. So Mission Gold paint is really nice. The colours are really bright. There's a lot of pigment in them, and I like them. And these are my watercolours I use at the minute. Some are a bit gone, but my favourites at the minute are that Cobalt Blue #1 by Mission Gold. My all-time favourite colour, not that one, I've lost it now. It's the Winsor & Newton Cobalt Violet, but I can't find it now. And I haven't got my right glasses on to look. And then here are all the Daniel Smith colours that I really like, that granulate and that, like the Hamatite, the Moon Glow, and things like that. Oh, thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everyone. I hope I'm helping people and not confusing you. I have got a lot of stuff. You don't need to, if you're like a beginner and I'm showing you all this stuff I've got, don't get like, because I've been painting for over 30 years. Thank you, Melanie. Cyril. I've been painting for over 30 years, and this is a collection that has sort of built up over time with stuff. My dog is like, I'm not going to let him out because he'll just go, Cyril! Stop it! I'm going to have some more tea, coffee. And girls, I'm glad I'm sort of helping. You don't go out and think, I hope I'm not putting people off by doing this. Whilst I've got them in my hand, yeah, you might see me using Posca pens, which I like. I like using the white, which is acrylic ink, not acrylic ink, acrylic paint sticks, I suppose. This one's an acrylic paint stick. You see that? That's a cheaper version that you can buy from Amazon. You can't see. The light's really weird here today, and my camera's not focusing on it because it doesn't like it. But Posca pens. Posca. We like Posca pens. Where did I get the flat palette from? Probably Sea Whites of Brighton. I get most of my stuff from Sea Whites of Brighton. But the problem is you can't buy online unless you're a business. So I was going to, when they open, I'm not sure if they're open yet, and when I go down to Sussex, I was going to buy stuff and like sell it on. So. Yeah, Mark can tell Cyril off. Get out. Give him time out for a minute. I'm going to move on to brushes in a minute, I think. Or maybe I should, yeah. What have I got? I did have, hang on. My stack is overflowing. Watercolor pencils. Let me show you. Oh, and my iPad's balancing on my watercolor pencil. Sorry, Buddha Boo. Oh, freezing Johannesburg in South Africa. Hi. I'm inspiring you to start painting. Yes, go on, do it. It's fun. You don't have to have all this stuff either. Just go and buy what you want and try. Yeah, I suppose understanding more about stuff does help. Yeah, I think it's where experience comes from. You sort of start to know. Watercolor pencils. These are the ones I go to at the moment. But then I found this. It's nice having a clear out. Then I found this, which has got more watercolor pencils in. I use cheap ones, expensive ones, different ones, but I don't paint with watercolor pencils. I just like using them for extra bits. I just draw with them mainly. But the ones I do have are Faber-Castell Art Grip ones, which are really nice. And they look nice as well. They're a bit, that was a bit of a luxury buy for me. I don't normally. And these are nice ones, which are the Koh-i-Noor progressive ones, which don't have wood around them. And they're just completely, what do you call them? Just the pencil bit. And you can like take off the covering and use them like pastels, really. And I like to sandpaper it. And I've got some like Home Hobby watercolor pencils. What's these ones? These ones are Derwent watercolor pencils. I've had these for ages. I find that some of these pencils in here must be like 20 odd years old. These ones, these aquatone pencils, which I really love. I don't think they make them anymore, or by Derwent. I think I tried to get some, but they were either really expensive now or they didn't make them, but they're really good as well. And then I've got some cheapy Stabilo Kiddies watercolour pencils you can use. And I also like these, which I can't pick them up. I also got these that I use in my other art as well, because they're quite waxy, and these are watercolour, water soluble pencils. These big chubby chunky, you got the woody ones and these ones, and it's good to mix things up. And I've also got these play colour paint sticks, which are fun to use. I'm starting to get into my other art stuff that I've got, but I realise how much stuff I have. Watercolour pens is another thing. Pencil sharpeners, they always break. Sometimes they're annoying. I've got this is a good pencil sharpener by Faber-Castell, and you've got all the different sizes. This is for the art grip ones and that. But if you find they're breaking all the time, just use a knife. All right, Mandy, I'm going to talk about my bleach in a minute. When I start talking about it, Mandy, can you put what it's called up again? So I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Oh, I've been bitten. I've got... Yeah, if you have trouble sharpening your pencils, just use a knife and do like that. Sometimes they just keep breaking and it's really annoying. I was going to talk about watercolour pens. I've got these, which I've had for ages, and I hardly use them. You can buy single ones as well, the pens, pens. Oh look, I just found this. This is my palette for when I make my abstract landscapes. It's just I think it came with cakes in it, something like that. Oh, my chair rolled away. And I've also got these watercolour markers, which just sit in here because I hardly ever use them. Which are by, who are these by? Letraset. They're quite old ones. Yeah, sometimes you can, if you heat it up, if they're the waxy, sometimes they're not very waxy and they just snap off there. If they've got the wax that runs through them, then if you heat them up, they do sort of stick. But it depends on the quality of your watercolour pencils. The ones with wax in tend to be more expensive. If they're cheaper ones, they're like more chalky and they just snap off. They just snap off. What did I talk about now? What was I going to talk about? Bleach. Right, things I add to my paintings to create texture. Then I'll talk about brushes. Oh yeah, I suppose people use them like in colouring books for adults and things, and you just add water. Because I don't paint like that. I don't really tend to use them. I thought they were going to be brilliant, but I have got a class on my site somewhere of using them to paint a face. I don't know. Yeah. You just reminded me about that. Thank you. Making textures. See, there's some lovely textures here. And I create textures like that by using bleach, which is household bleach. And Melanie just said what it's called in America, because I have so many questions. And I put them in these little, I put bleach in these little droppy pots, and I just drop it on as I'm painting. And I just mix it, dilute it with water. The bleach only works when the paint's wet, and not all colours react to it. So it's a surprise sometimes, but that's the bleach. Melanie wrote down what it's called, I think. So that sort of causes this sort of texture, and it accentuates the washbacks and things you can get. I use salt a lot. I use this salt, which is just normal table salt, really fine grained one. And if you want more of a texture from salt, you can use sea salt, which is big chunky grains, and that gives you a texture a bit like this. And again, you have to catch the drying time of the watercolour at the right time for it to work. So you can't put it on dry. It has to be just as the sheen's going off the watercolour. It works best when you do that. I also use, you'll see me using sandpaper, and I use sandpaper, and I've got these watercolour. I suppose they're a bit like Inktense blocks, but these aren't Inktense blocks. These are just cheaper version from Home Hobby or something like that. And I sand them onto the wet, just go like this, and let it all fall down onto the paper, and that gives a lovely texture. I did have this gives you a texture like that. So it only sticks where the paper's wet. You get some nice textures. That's the salt texture. And that's the bleach. I did a whole video on this, and this here is alcohol, rubbing alcohol, surgical spirit. You can also get the same effect by using nail varnish remover, vodka, gin, stuff like that. Sometimes I like to spray hairspray on my paintings, and that gives a little effect, a bit like the alcohol, but very subtle. What else do I use? I like using the granulation medium, and I was going to find, somebody said they'd make their own, because this is really expensive. It doesn't always work. And I use soapy water as well. Yeah, someone just reminded me. I just use, a bar of hand soap, just grate it, and I mix it up with water. You can also use washing up liquid, and that has a good effect. I also like using gum arabic, which makes the watercolour more viscous, and you get some slower, it accentuates the cauliflowers, I call them cauliflowers, washbacks, and it makes the paint move slower, and it makes it thicker, and it gives it a translucency as well, which I like using that as well. What else do I use? I think that's about it. So, okay, Melanie's put up what it's called in America that she's found, the chlorine bleach, yeah, ultra gel. So it's just the stuff you stick down your toilet or your drain to clean it. I got this here to remind me. This is the ink I use. I did a painting. I can't use it. This is ink. It's just drawing ink, which is water soluble. So it's a watercolor in my eyes. So I use that. Right, I'm going to talk about masking fluid as well. So I've just seen this. When I use masking fluid, I tend to use these marker pens. You can get them in different sizes, I've got a bigger one here. But test them on your paper first, and don't use a hairdryer or anything to dry it, because sometimes it doesn't come off. So test it first. So my masking fluid, and this is a masking fluid rubber. It gets mask away. Is it a mask away rub? I don't know what it's called. Something like that. It's got a special name. It's like a bit of crepe. Someone said it reminded them of crepe soles from the 70s. It's just like that. It's my like crepe sole thing. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Blotting hasn't made an appearance. When you see me paint, you'll see me blotting a lot. And I just use kitchen roll. This is like, doesn't look very nice, does it? I use kitchen roll. And then I use blotting paper. This is another question I get asked about, because I think people can't find it. Yeah, I've got a refill for my masking fluid pen, Kerry, somewhere. I found it. I was like, what is this? And I went, oh yeah, I must have bought it when I bought the thing. So they're quite good. Yeah, Mr. Blotting. Oh, another thing, cling film. I use that. Cling film, saran wrap, whatever you call it, plastic wrap. I use that to get textures. And you would have seen me yesterday use bubble wrap as well for something that I did. Sorry, I just saw that. I was getting the blotting paper. Blotting paper. I buy it in A3 sheets, and then I tear it down to sizes that I like. And then I use it so much at the minute. It's like my favourite thing to use. Blotting paper is what calligraphy people use. You've probably seen it, like old-fashioned writing things, and then they use that rocker thing to blot the paper from the ink so it doesn't splodge everywhere. So that's what this is, and it's really porous paper. And there's a yeah, this is like a long one. Mask away. Mask away. There we go. So that's blotting paper, and I bought loads. I bought a pack of 10 or something from the Works, which was really cheap. It was at like 99p, but I haven't been to see if they've got any more, because that's the sort of shop that has things one week and not the other week and things like that. Right, I'm going to talk about brushes. Shall I get my big collection of brushes? And then I'll talk about the ones that I like and I don't like. So I've got them all at the side here. Brush, brush, brush. Brushes, brushes. You don't have to spend loads of money on brushes. Yeah, I suppose the ink pens came with a sheet of blotting paper, didn't they? Right, I've just talked about the brushes I use at the minute. And then I will show you the ones that I've got that I don't use that often. Yeah, when you learnt to write with the ink cartridge pen at school, it used to be a thing, didn't it? I think we were given blotting paper then to blot it or something. I don't know. Right, my favourite brush has been, you would have seen me been using it all the time. I found another one, but it doesn't seem to have as nice a point on it. Are these synthetic round brush by Royal Langnickel. God, I can't read what it says on it. This is a number 16. I've got two here. You can see the difference in the points. This one I like. This is the same brush, but look at the point. No point. So when you go and buy a brush, go and look, make sure it has a nice point and a nice bulbousy bit here, and it will hold a lot of water. Thank you, Helen. I hope I'm giving you information and it's not too much to take in. This is a brush that I'm really loving at the moment. It's a Princeton Neptune brush, number 18, and I think it's a mixture of synthetic and natural hair, and it goes into a really nice point, and it's got a nice bulbous, I forget what you call this bit of the brush, heel, something like that, or body. something like that. So I use that, and I also use this brush, which is my cheap, God knows where I got it from, crappy old brush. It's synthetic and it's 1 inch wide, the belly of the brush, thank you. And this is I use for landscapes, which I like. And then you would see me using my wibbly wobbly brushes. Wibbly wobbly brushes, which are the sword brushes, which I really like. And this one is a Pro Art sword brush. It's all got a bit bent, but it needs straightening out. And they come in different sizes. This is a, what size is that? I don't know, small. That's a small and that's a large. Simple. And then I've got these ones which aren't quite the Art Master one. This is a medium one, but they're not quite as long and flippy floppy. I like these ones because they're really flippy floppy. This one is, it's not as good because it doesn't flop around as much, but it's still good, I think. And I got this one came with it or something. I bought a set of funny angled brushes like this. No, I don't use soap to clean brushes, just clean them with water. If you start putting soap and stuff on them, it messes them up. And try not to leave them sitting in the water either. Just wash them with water. Just make sure they're clean. Just use normal water. You don't use any soap or anything. And you don't need those stupid brush soaps and things. That's just a waste of money. Don't go wasting money. I also use this. This is a number 10. Sea Whites of Brighton synthetic round brush. I just like it because it's got a nice point on it. And don't go, if I say this is a number 10 brush from Sea Whites, if you go and buy a number 10 brush from, say, Winsor & Newton or wherever, they won't be the same size. It's a bit like clothes, you know, it's like women clothes sizing. There's no like proper size. They're all different. That's what I found out. And I think you might have seen me using the long rigger. You can get riggers in different sizes. Yes, this is where are these by? These are Art Master ones. This is a number 2, and this one's a number 10/0. So they're just long brushes that you can use for making long lines. And yeah, that's about it. And I do like this. This is a graphite pencil that I use, but it's a water soluble one as well. But I quite like using that sometimes when I want like a drawing line to show through. I have other brushes which I will show you. You would have seen me using these. I was trying to fan brushes. Just don't ask. I don't like fan brushes. I tried to use it. I just chuck it in the bin. Look, brushes, more brushes. Oh, more brushes. Lots of brushes, more brushes. Water brushes. I've only ever used these, hardly, never. I don't like them. But some people love them. I'm thinking I might put bleach in these and use them and see what happens. So I'm going to leave those out tomorrow. I might do have a go. When I'm feeling really brave and doing a really big painting, and I like these brushes. Look how lovely these are. If I'm doing like a big, really wet, these are from Sea Whites of Brighton. That's the number 30. Looks like a makeup brush, but it's not. This one's a number. What number's that one? Doesn't say. I can't see. It's a number 14, but it's not really. And I also like these. This one. I can't can't see. This is a Royal Langnickel Zen brush, which is that sort of shape. It also looks like a makeup brush. I like those. They're fun to use if you want to get really mess around with. And this is another brush I like. I've forgotten I had, which is another Pro Art Connoisseur brush, which is really nice to use. I've forgotten about that one. I love you, brush. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah, whatever. Just throw your fan brush away. Yeah, I've got a brush pen filled with white ink. I found it. Where is it? It's in my drawer. Look. It's there. It's there. I've done it. I forget things. I've got so much fun to have had. I forget what I'm doing. That's why it's quite good having a tidy up and a clear out. I like these brushes as well. I've got a few of these. I've forgotten what they're called. This is a mop brush. Yeah. Squirrel hair. Poor squirrels. Cherish you. And then I've got some various crap brushes in here that I don't really use very much in those ones. I've tried a lot of brushes and then I find ones that I really like. This is another Royal Langnickel brush, which I like. And they're cheap and they just go into that one's got a nice point on the end. It's just, it's broken. And it falls off. I'm just looking through here. So feathers. Feathers are good to paint with. I've got a few feathers in here. It's like when I'm feeling adventurous. Oh, and wooden skewers are good for scraping. And these are barbecue skewers. I like those. This is it's like Christmas going through this. I got various flat brushes, but I tend not to use them. I only tend to use that big flat brush I've got. These are brushes of the unused. I've got lots of these Sea Whites of Brighton that when I have art lessons I give them to my students to use. So I've got many of those just in one pot. That's why I've got a lot of those, because I like them and they're good for beginners. They're just number 10 round synthetic with a nice point. If you're a beginner, get one of those brushes. Yeah, so I think if I talked about everything, was there something I've missed? You can remind me if I'm not. Right, I can be open for questions now. I think I've finished talking about everything. I've been talking for an hour about all my stuff. That was a bit weird. So I'll wait for questions. Questions. There's lots of people watching as well. Gosh. Hi everyone. So if I haven't said hello to you and you've come in on the chat, but I've been so busy talking about everything and getting quite excited. I did talk about the sort of pastel things, these things. What grade? I find that the P80, I think that's what it's got on the back, the bigger grade, not the fine sandpaper. Use the really coarse one. That works better when you're sandpapering pencils. And when you're sanding pencils, the cheapest pencils work the best because they're not waxy and they would just fall everywhere. Oh, thanks, Anne-Marie. Why do I sprinkle salt on paper? To get that effect. Texture. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I hope I'm teaching people things. So I'm just reading some of the things. What is the stone? I don't know what that is. In my 50th birthday present from my kids. I'm not sure. It's from India. So that's all I know. I don't know if it's just yellow glass or if it's a proper stone. You see. Just love it. It's my favourite colour. Yeah, it's good to sandpaper ink tent sticks. But I've used all my ink. I had a red one and a black one that I used to use for poppies all the time. But I was given these things, and I've been using these ones, which are the cheaper ones. They're a bit like ink tents, but they're not as intense. Oh, congratulations for the beginning of September. 50. Fab and 50. It's the new 30. That's what I say. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. I hope everyone's learning stuff. Does alcohol inks only work on new people? No. You can use alcohol inks on anything. You'll get that sort of effect. But if they're coloured alcohol inks, you'll get that effect with the colour. Go and have a play. It's fun. You can use them on paper and anything. Yeah, Anne-Marie, 50 is just a number. Yeah, go on, Ellen. Go and give it a go. What's this? Just keep doing. No, I haven't looked at Brusho pigment powder. What is that? What is it? I've got. Is it like powdered paint? Powdered paint. Rinse aid you put in the dishwasher. Oh, does that have the same effect of bleach? Jane's asking, do I find the work that I like isn't always what sells? Yeah, all the time. You can either paint for selling or you can paint what you like. And I tend to paint what I like, and then when I do textiles, for my textile designs, I have to paint stuff I don't particularly like painting, but I know that's what the agent wants and that's what I sell. It's like a fisheye effect. I suppose it does sort of do, that rinse aid probably works the same as a bit like the alcohol and the bleach sort of mixed together. Mr. Ben's 50 next year. He's older than that, isn't he? Mr. Ben. I remember watching it as a kid. Oh, it's pigment, and it shows the colours that make a colour when it's sprinkled. Oh, is it like one of those gimmicky things you don't know what colour it is until it's on the thing? It's magic. I'll have to have a look. I haven't looked. I don't need to go. I don't need to go to a shop for a while. Now I've had a sort out and found all these lovely things. No, not Mr. Bean, Mr. Ben. It's an English kids thing where he used to go. He was great. He had like a little, he was like dressed like a London banker with his little bowler hat and his suit on. And he used to go to this shop and to try on new clothes, and he'd go in the changing room, get changed into something, and then when he came out of the changing room, he was in a different world, which matched what he was wearing, and it was fantastic. Not Benny Hill. Not Benny Hill, Mr. Ben. Oh, happy birthday, Jane. Benny Hill, no, Mr. Ben. No, not Benny Hill. We're not talking about Benny Hill. It's Mr. Ben. Oh dear. It's an English thing, I think. Hi, Shannon. Love South Africa. Hi. I like that there's all these people everywhere. I'm keeping everyone up in America, I think. They're probably gone. I've never had so many people on watching, actually, a live thing. Come and say hi if you're there. Hi, Ron. Do I do plein air painting? I have done. I have done in the past, but it's nice to sit in your studio in the warm. Saturday Night Live. It's Saturday morning here. What's the time? Gosh, it's 8:36. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Priscilla from Rhode Island. There's people. Hi, Peace. I'm going to call you Peace from Holland. Oh, hi, everybody. There's people everywhere. I do urban sketching. I've done lots of stuff. The show Benny Hill. Well, I don't know. I was just talking about Mr. Ben. Saturday Night Live show. Yeah, I saw that, Mr. Ben. I just answered. Keep up. Another South Africa. Hi, Anne. Lots of people from South Africa. It must be a good time for South Africa. I don't know. Are you on the same timeline? Maybe. People are just waking up. I start early. I'm an early, but I was up at 5 o'clock this morning. I don't want to go. Is there any more questions related to watercolour, supplies, art, general stuff? Jane's in South Yorkshire. Oh, that's near me. Well, not near me. Off to the peaks. That'd be nice. All right, you're 9:30 a.m, so that's probably quite good for South Africa. And like people are waking up on a Saturday morning. What's my favourite brand of what? I like different brands from different things. Shannon asked that. My favourite brand of watercolour paint, should I say, are at the moment Mission Gold, Daniel Smith and Winsor & Newton. Those three are always really nice. Occasionally, Chris, I use hot press paper if I want a really detailed painting, but I find that I paint a lot more on cold press paper. Do you ever get QOR in the UK? I don't know what that is. Thanks, Anne. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Sorry, I'm reading. It's a brand of colours. No, I haven't looked, Anne Marie. I will have a look. I mustn't buy any more stuff, actually, except stuff I'm using and running out of. I try not to browse Jackson's art supplies for too long. I fill up my cart. I go through, what I do is I go through the website and I just put everything I like in the cart, and then I go and look at it and it's like £1,000 or something ridiculous. Then I go around delete, 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 and then I'm left with just what I need. So it's just things like, hi Sue. QOR by Golden, I don't know. I think Golden paints are another one that's a bit overpriced, and I tend to stay away. Yeah, Mission Gold should do a Mitzi collection. Especially with the opera pink, which I'm not using very much anymore. But I need to do some more flowers, I think. Oh yeah, Mr. Ben's just reminded me of Etsy. I've taken photos of my art and I'm going to put them on so they'll be on this afternoon. The paintings that I've done. Yes, I've done pen and ink, Joan. Maybe I should do some more. I paint everything. I'm like a, what's the saying? Something of all and master of none. Something like that. Yes, Mr. Venn, thank you. I will put stuff on Etsy. It's about time. Go paint courgette flowers. I like eating courgettes. I've got lots of courgette flowers in my garden at the minute. Yeah, I'll do some pen and ink. That can be like, I'll put it on my list. Yeah, jack of all trade, master of none. That's me when it comes to painting. I don't know. Debbie's asking about a painting. Sorry, I missed it, Debbie. Which one? Which painting do you want, Debbie? Doo-doo-doo. Which painting? Melanie will PM you my address. Yeah, if I can. I don't know where to find you. I can't do it on. Can I do it on YouTube? You can't do private messages on YouTube, can you? The landscape with the pink flowers in the front. No, I haven't. I took a photo of it this morning. I haven't put it up yet. Let me find it. Is it here? I don't think I've sold it. I don't think I put it up yet. No, I haven't. There's a pile. I've got a big pile. I can't find it now. What is that? This one. This one. That one. I can put it just up for you, Debbie. I'll put it on Etsy with reserved for Debbie, but don't anyone else buy it. Or you can just PayPal me. That one's 40 quid. You can just, if you send me, Stephen will put up my PayPal me. I won't put it on Etsy. If you want it. It's £40. And that includes the postage, and if you do it with PayPal me, or if you just put it in PayPal, 40 British pounds, I think, and it would just do the exchange for you. It's quite simple. And can you remember to write what it's for and your address, because I get confused easily. And put your address on, otherwise I won't be able to send it. Yeah, Jane, I will do pen and ink. Maybe I can do that tomorrow. Yeah. I have got have I? I'm sure I've got a video of me doing pen and ink somewhere. Yes, Fran, I have used rough, but cold press rough paper. I've used that. It's nice, but I like the one with the in-between texture, not too rough. Anyway, I've been chatting for an hour and 15 minutes, and maybe I should go. Okay, thanks, Melanie. I will try and remember. I should write stuff down, shouldn't I, when I'm doing this? I forget. Yeah, I need to go get a cup of tea. Right. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I hope I didn't like bombard your head with like too much stuff because I get a bit excited. Go away thing. Sorry, it just stalled there because my battery's low on my phone. Oh, thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody, for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. British summer time, and I will do a pen and ink drawing of something. Drawing is a pen and ink class as a drawing or a watercolor. That's another thing. Thank you for joining me, and I will. I don't want to go. I like talking to you lot. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.